Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started, where you reached, what made you switch over from what you were doing to become a action coach, a success coach. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Right. Very interesting. When I look back at things and what prompted me to become a coach today, I think the seed of that goes back to my childhood. I was a very naughty child growing up, and I grew up with my grandparents. Didn't live much with my parents in my earlier days of my life. And just to channelize that naughtiness and that energy, my parents and grandparents decided to enroll me into something where I could, start feeling tired, and that was martial arts.
Oh,
So as a martial artist, till about 19, 20 years till about 19, where I then met up with an accident and had to give it up. But that is where I learned a bit of resilience and a bit of discipline, which over the years, where when I look back at my story, uh, I felt that's what helped me, because doing things on your own, protecting yourself, uh, despite adversities around, and when I was growing up, there were
hmm.
times when there were adversities day in day out. Having grown up in the heart of Mumbai, which is Dadar, being educated in a school like IES, English medium school, aka known as King George. I had a wonderful, wonderful childhood, but not realizing or never reflecting on things that I learned then. And then subsequently, as I grew up, I took up corporate roles. And in one of my corporate roles, I was introduced to the concept of coaching.
Hmm.
It all started with attending a small workshop in London, where I lived and worked for a few years. And from there, I never thought of doing anything else for myself other than coaching. If ever I get the opportunity to do it, anything for me. That really didn't happen for another 11 years. So 2018 is when I actually turned a passion coach, which means it's just a passion project that I started. And then in 2021, I signed up with Action Coach as a business coach. Um, a little later down the line, I completed my executive coaching certification as well with them, and I haven't looked back. I really, really love to work with people, bring happiness, success, and freedom for themselves in their life, in their business, and that passion keeps driving me to do what I do.
Wonderful,
So
wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So, what in your mind is the definition of success? Because success can mean a lot to many, many different people. Somebody may be a successful businessman, somebody may be a successful professional, you may be a successful father, you may be a successful child, you may be a successful teacher, a coach. What does success actually mean? How do we define success?
so I'm going to give you two definitions. The one which, as a coach, I help my clients and people around me when I speak, because just so that they get the clarity. But before we get there, let me tell you how I look at and define success. There are these materialistic trappings around us, which is always there. किसी को Mercedes खरीदना है, किसी को somebody wants to buy a Rolls Royce, somebody wants to buy a bigger house, somebody wants to have a villa in Goa or whatever it is. Those trappings are always there. But for me, true success is living the way you are, the values that you align to yourself, and have the freedom to express that in everything that you do. So for me, that freedom, that love, that connection with my values is very, very important. And if I don't see that I'm able to align with that, deliver that, I don't think I'm going to be seeing myself successful in that activity. But then when we look at people and ask, so how do you define success? And I tell them it's very simple. It's a progressive realization of a worthwhile goal. If you have a goal that you want to achieve, and if you are progressively moving, then that is success. So often people say, यार मेरा ना 1 करोड़ इस साल में revenue नहीं बना, so I have not been successful. But maybe you are like 70, 80 lakhs, which is 20 lakhs better than where you were last year. Would you not be successful compared to that? So that's how I have always looked at success. And I was in that category where I used to say, "Yaar, itna nahi bana. This is what I haven't achieved." So I was always living in that scarcity and in that lack. But through experiences, obviously, as coaches or as you know, human beings being part of this planet, there are so many
Mhm.
people who enlighten you in your journey, and then you start to
Yes.
redefine the way you look at things as well. And that's been the beauty for me. I love this aspect. Or something like, am I learning something today? Am I growing today? Am I contributing to people around me? And if I know that I've done that, I'd say, yeah, I've been successful.
So, as you said, success is a journey. It's possibly not a destination, because if you reached one place and then you stop growing, you stop learning, you are not doing anything new, you are not doing anything else. So, clearly, it is a journey, right?
Absolutely.
So, in business, when someone comes and tells you, Ameya, become my business coach, help me 2x my business or 5x my business or 10x my business, what do you do? How do you work with them? How do you help them achieve what they want to be?
Um, so Deepak, this is a very, very important thing for a coach to know is why they want to do that. Why do they want to have the business at a 5x level from where they are today? What is it in them that's driving them to have that 5x or 10x or 20x, whatever it is? I mean, sky's the limit. You can keep doing more and more and more and more. But what are you going to get when you have a 5x? Because you're actually working towards that. And typically in people's life, that is, I want to have better choices in life. I want to, go for a international
Wait,
vacation every 3 months, or I want to spend more time with my family, or I want to give back to the society. I want to create a $1 billion enterprise, and maybe 20% of that goes to charity every year. Whatever their why is, if they are clear about it, then it is not just that 2x, 5x, 10x that they will achieve. They'll achieve much more than that. The problem that I've often seen is the clarity. Why am I wanting to do this? It happened with me as well. When I started my coaching business, I didn't know why I'm doing this. I had to work really hard on myself to understand what makes me the person to be the coach, just so that people get the best out of me, the value out of me. Do I feel happy? And I decided, yes, I feel happy when I work with people, right? I feel the sense of success when I see my clients get success in their life. Because as a coach, that's what you want. You want your clients to be successful. And then came the part of freedom. Do I have the choice to work with people who are then aligned to these values that I have for myself? And that's where the third aspect of freedom came in my life, right? So happiness, success, freedom. I think people have right now thought about all of these things as lofty words, but deep down, all of us have these 3 or 4 things in us that, you know, helps us prime for whatever things that we do in our life. It could be different for someone. Yeah, for Deepak, it could be making people prosperous, because I know you're a fantastic financial coach. And, for Abhijit, it could be someone who wants to live a risk-free life because he does some really good work on risk management. But each of us there is something in us that we would want to see contribute to in someone else's life as well.
Clearly, we are all working to make our clients' lives better, and consequently, just trying to make the world a little bit a
A little
better
bit better.
place to be. Yeah,
Yes,
they are happy, we are happy. It's win-win.
it's a win-win.
So, tell us about the most common challenges, especially small business owners face for people who come to you. What are the most common challenges they have?
Another great question. What I ask people to do is just open up their app, Google Maps, and tell them that, depending on where you are. So this is something that I did just last week in Mumbai. I told them, go to VT. Everyone started typing VT, 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 like CST job. And then I turned back and said, guys, I just told you have to go there, but do you know from where? The biggest problem I see around with my clients, or otherwise that I meet my prospects, is they don't know where they're standing but they want to go to some place in the quickest, easiest possible way,
Yes.
but not knowing where what the current situation is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of deniability for people, I would say. People don't accept that, "Hey, yeah, it's okay. Okay, someone else has done it. Yeah, but what you don't see that someone else did this by spending 20 hours of their life for 2 years, 3 years, doing just what they're passionate about,
Yes.
right? So very recently at a keynote that I delivered in a college, kids were telling me, and I asked them what are their career options, and about 70% of the room told me that they wanted to be influencers. It was like, wow,
Shortcut.
okay, right? But influencer of what, and
Hmm.
why is that important? So at
Yes.
that level, it was मुझे पैसा चाहिए, so the destination was money. But then the next thing that I asked them is, so where are you right now that would make
Hmm.
you that influencer?
Yeah.
And then there were a lot of gloomy faces. Because trust me, some of them didn't even have a proper Instagram account. And they wanted to. And this happens with a lot of us, small business owners
Yes.
typically, because they don't have that environment where they're asked those questions.
Yeah.
And that's the environment coaches create for them. I'm not saying one coach is better than the other. All coaches at some point in time will pose you this question. कहाँ जाना है, कहाँ से जाना है, and that
Hmm.
कहाँ से जाना is even more important before the कहाँ जाना है gets defined.
Yes. Where do you want to go, but what is your starting point? Where
What
are you
is the starting
starting
point?
from? First decide that.
Absolutely. So if I'm at Masjid, then going to CST is going to be a 5 minutes thing.
Yeah. Yes.
But if I am staying in Daisar or if I'm staying in Karjar, it's going to be a
Yeah.
long haul journey, man.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And
Okay.
getting that into reality of what they do in their day-to-day life
Hmm.
becomes very important. A lot of time people don't know where they're spending their time to even figure these things out. So, small things, micro commitments, getting them to commit to don't do this for a minute or for a week and for a month and see what it gives you. Does it give you more clarity on where you are? That's exactly what works out for people. But get to know where you are first. If
Wonderful.
you don't know where you
Wonderful.
are, the journey is going to be difficult.
Yeah. So, is there a particular set of industries or a subset where you specialize in, which means you say if you are a manufacturing owner, I can help you more, or if you are in IT services, I can help you better. As a business coach, plan in a way or teach in a way or coach in such a way that it's applicable to every business. How does that work?
So, a coach is a coach, right? But yes, right now we've seen a lot of these things where people have started getting their niche, and I'm someone who's working on continue to evolve my niche as well. So, uh, services is becoming a more relevant big part of our economy right now. So, I work
Yes.
a lot with service business owners or people who provide services.
Yes.
That doesn't make me averse to coaching manufacturing businesses, because manufacturing is a beautiful thing. You can create big enterprises. You can create a lot of things out of that. But if I have my preference, services, but then obviously manufacturer I'm not averse to. Uh, each individual will have his or her own difficult situation that they would want to deal with. So if it's a new business owner, let's say they've been under 5 years in their business, the set of challenges they have are going to be different, whether it's manufacturing or whether it is services. But someone who's gone beyond that 5 years, 7 years age, where you know, and I think it's the world statistics, about 86% of the businesses fail in the first 5 years. And it's a scary number, right? When you look at it. Uh, so helping them, coaching them, guiding them to get past that 5 year is also what I feel is uh, is a success parameter for me, right? Okay. For someone, they have started something that they're passionate about. Why would you want that to fail,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Everybody who starts is actually passionate about doing something. But as you said, so many percentage of businesses close down in the first year itself. the number which is in 3 year and 5 year category is really, really depressing. I mean, somebody puts all the time and effort, and whatever they have into the business, and 3 or 5 years later, it becomes difficult. So again,
Absolutely.
we are hearing this that the Indian economy is on a tear, and for the next decade, India is the peach of the world, and everybody's looking at us. Economy is doing well, but as a business coach, when you deal with small businesses and medium enterprises, what we get to hear that there is a lot of stress in the economy. Is that true? And how are these small businesses adapting to new changes? And what is happening in the world?
Um, so it's true that there is stress, but that stress is coming from our inability to do certain things that are required to align with the momentum that the Indian economy is providing, right? Um, the other day, I was running a session just 2 days ago in Goa, and we realized when we asked a couple of questions, how many of you actually have a cash flow forecast for the next 12, 13 weeks? And 100%, I'm not kidding you, everyone in the room said, no, we don't have it. Should you have one? Yes, you should. Everyone said, yes, we should have one. Why? Because it gives you clarity, right? It shows you your starting point week on week कि आपको कहाँ पैसा कहाँ लगने वाला है, कब लगने वाला है. Now, imagine not having this, and a month down the line when you've got to make a payment saying that I don't have the money, and when you don't have the money and when you're struggling to find that money, what's going to start building in you? Stress. Why? Because some simple action that you didn't do is by looking at what your next 13 weeks outflow is and inflow is. So there is no stress in the economy. There is no stress in the business. It is that our inability to take actions is what creates that stress. And that's why I got so much aligned with Action Coach here, right? You see that? Because in our community, we stress, as in the positive stress, upon taking action, not the negative. Right? So that's the way it is. So there's a positive stress, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are positively stressing also to do things because when they know that they do those things, they'll get the result and be successful. Because success is a progressive realization of a goal. For someone, a goal could be, okay, let me look at my financial KPIs, my P&L, my
Yes.
balance sheet, my cash flow statement, or maybe
Right.
how I'm delivering for my customer. It could be anything. When you're not doing the things that are expected to do is when the stress starts coming through. And it's not about the economy or the government or the regulation or anything like that. I mean, there's so many businesses which are still successful and are moving towards success despite all
Yes.
the things that are happening around us.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my perspective. That's how I look at it. And thankfully, I found people who align and accept with that thought as well. But when I ask them to sit back and reflect, did you do this?
Yeah.
And made them understand how this is relevant for them.
Yeah.
Then they say, yeah, man, doing this would reduce my stress by 20%, 30%, 50%, whatever it is.
So, in this last two questions, your answer revolved a lot around cash flow and money management, and
Yeah.
what are, like, the top three challenges most small business owners face? It is like, is it money? Is it skilled labor? Is it unskilled labor? Or are we updated with the technology? Are we ready to produce things or become that good in business where the world is saying, okay, give me this and I like your product?
Um, I typically look at a business where anything that's not happening well for them can be categorized into three things, and it's always these three things: time, team, and money. Do you have the time to help myself grow so that I can grow my business?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, then you got to work with a coach for sure. Because in this competitive world with AI and technology and things, what are you assessing that will take your business to 20, 30%? Forget 20, 30%. We are talking about
Hmm.
5x, 10x nowadays, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what is it that I have that I need to change in my business? And do I have the time to make that change happen? Second, do I have the team that then helps me execute that change?
Yeah.
Then you go down to the skills, beliefs, values, identity of people who are in the system. Now, if you
Hmm.
don't have them, what do? Do you create them? Do you build their skills? Do you build their beliefs? Or do you buy that? I mean, the world is, open to a lot of models like outsourced, co-sourced, managed,
Yeah.
co-managed, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the last one is money. Okay, so if I have to do all of these things, do I have the money? Where is it going to come from?
Hmm.
Anything that a business owner is struggling with can be categorized into these three things. Or I don't have the money, so why do not have the money? Are you not being prudent with your money management? Okay, I'm being good with that, but maybe I don't have enough customers who will give me that yield that's required to be making my investments in time and team. Money never grows linearly. It always
Yes.
grows exponentially. Who better
Yeah.
than you to tell us that, Deepak? Because you keep doing that, right? But the fact is that because we don't look at those elements and we don't diagnose and go down to that level that's hurting us the most, we create these stresses, we create these challenges for ourselves. You do these simple things day in, day out. Trust me, you'll have a business which is successful, which is not just running, but it's running without you. And that gives you the result of that freedom, that happiness that you've always wanted for your life, right? A- a- It's
Wonderful.
not, it's not, I would say, आज मैंने सोचा कल हो गया. It's a journey, right? You have to
Yes.
do it. I mean, you cannot say that it will happen for me just by thinking I'll do it. You have to first do it to make it
Yeah.
happen.
Yes, you have to do it, and you have to keep on doing it for
Keep on
compounding
doing
to
it.
work, and
Absolutely.
that takes time. So we all hear that India is a country of entrepreneurs. A lot of people are self-made. And a lot of businesses are like family business. The grandfather started it, and the father is running it, and now you have the young generation. And you said you addressed a few students in the colleges and graduates. What we get to hear is a lot of the new generation is not interested in managing their parents or their legacy businesses. Everyone wants to do things on their own. So is that the feeling which you get, and how easy or how difficult is it to start your own business, especially in the current environment?
Okay. So first and foremost, right? People who choose to do that, I say that you're so blessed, you're so privileged, right? Be grateful for that opportunity. Not many people have that level of choice to make when
Yeah.
they are, getting graduated. Or we see a lot of undergrads also starting a lot of businesses and
Mhm.
making them successful over a period of time. I mean, look at the OYO founder, Ritesh Agarwal, or even the Ola founder, or look at the Kamath brothers who've done wonderfully well with Zerodha. I think
Yeah.
that app is on about 60% of the people who are trading in the market right now. It's
Yes.
huge, right? But
Yeah.
when you have that opportunity, make use of that opportunity by aligning your actions to the level that you want to take that business to, right? I'm not saying that it's not good to continue with a family business. That family
Mhm.
business can also be redefined, relooked at, rehashed, rejuvenated in a different way. Just
Yeah.
that people don't want to do, and it's okay. They have that choice, right? They have the freedom. They're expressing their freedom to not get into the family business, which is great. But then when you've made the choice, stay aligned, stay put, go through that rigor. There is going to be adversity. You're not going to wake up to, sweet mornings every day where, you wake up and your
Yeah.
HDFC Bank SMS in the morning says available balance in your account is $1 million.
Yeah.
Time लगता है बहुत करने के लिए. Right. So go ahead with the choice, but then be fully committed. What
Yes.
happens is, and I've seen this with young entrepreneurs typically. I'm not being too judgmental about too many people. What they see is, because I have not got the success today, let me pivot and start doing something else. So there's a wonderful story I heard recently. I'm sure I can take the liberty to share this story right now. An elephant and a dog got pregnant on the same day. 9 months later, the dog delivered and there were puppies all around him. But the elephant was still carrying that baby in its womb. And so the dog very curiously walks up to that elephant and says, "You know what? Um, Look, in 9 months, I've already delivered these puppies, and now I'm ready to deliver nine more, 10 more puppies that will come out if I get pregnant again. But you and I got pregnant on the same day. Why have you not delivered a baby yet?" And then the elephant says that, "Yeah, you know what? Lucky you, good. You've had success in your life by having those babies. But what I'm carrying inside me is so big that for it to take its full shape and start, uh, showing significance in the world, it only happens once in 2 years, right? When my baby comes out and walks on the street, everyone on the street is going to go and look at it. He's actually going to be the showstopper somewhere, or she's going to be
Yes.
the showstopper somewhere, right?
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs are only creating these puppies which are on the street that not many people are looking at. And when the time is actually there to create that elephant, they're just
Yeah.
chickening out. You know why?
Yes.
Because then they start comparing themselves with something else which is much bigger, and now they
Yeah.
pivot and start doing that.
Yes. Yes.
बहुत हो रहा है ये. मत करो यार. You started this with a passion. Stay committed to that passion
Yeah.
because you believe that this is something that will change the world for someone somewhere, and definitely change the world for you,
Yeah.
right?
Really a great example. It's a great comparison of how you can do a few small things, or you can do one large thing, and that one large thing will take time. Again, since we are talking about choices between family businesses and starting our own business, especially for these privileged children, where do you find there is resistance to change? Clearly, I would assume that anybody who is old or running something which is legacy driven would probably be a little resistant to change, or reaching out to a coach and asking him or her, please help me. हम तो सालों से business कर रहे हैं. Youngsters possibly would be a little more open and aligned to bringing in somebody like you, a coach. Is that the reality? Does that happen in real life?
Oh, absolutely a lot. And you know what? I found that this has happened not just with businesses which are running for maybe one or two generations or 50, 70 years. 70 years is typically two generations have touched that business, right? But it,
Yeah.
it also happens with a lot of new businesses because um, I take it down to just one thing, right? People want to get a set of results. And today, the results are best visible because the actions and the decisions that people make, right? There's an action, and to take that action, there's been a decision. The combination of two, which we call it as our business behaviors, delivers a
Yeah.
result.
Yes.
But there are things underneath within us that actually drive us to those actions and behaviors. And those are our skills, those are our beliefs, those are our values, and more importantly, our identity. If we are not aligning your identity to the result that you want, you're not going to get there. Whether it is a traditional 5 decade, 2 decade, a decade old business, or maybe even a 10-month old business, the resistance in in these four areas, the skills, the beliefs, the values, and the identity. Mostly it's the identity. I don't want to change. I want to continue doing what I am and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Look, I was a corporate employee for 20 plus years. If I had remained a corporate employee and not decided I want to change my identity from that corporate employee to becoming a world class coach, which I want to become, would I be here on Bloom Talks?
Hmm.
Would you and I have been connected through
Yes.
PSA and whatever it was where we met? I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have been having this background behind me. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
been talking about bringing that happiness, success, and freedom for my
Yes.
clients.
Yeah.
I decided to change that identity. And there are so many people around us that, who have done that. I mean, look at the great Sachin Tendulkar. He was told that, maybe you're not a good bowler because he actually went to MRF Pace Foundation. And the great Dennis Lilly told him, your better identity is that of a batsman, and the rest is history.
Yes.
It is that
So,
identity. It is all about how we look at ourselves to get what you want. Imagine sitting in a corner office in a corporate, just talking, thinking, यार मैं कभी तो coaching करूंगा, इसको coach
yes.
करूंगा, but not go through the not do the work, go through
Yes.
taking up the learning process for myself,
Yes.
and spending time in mastering that. I'm not saying I'm a master at it at all. I keep practicing that. This mastering comes through practice. Unless all that has happened, I don't think we will get the result that we want. And it all starts with the identity that we are. If we are that identity, we'll get that result. Maybe you're not getting that 100% result, which means there's a bit in that identity that needs to be further built. There is somewhere a value or a belief that is not aligned to what your behaviors are. And those are the important things. Skills, you can learn them easily, right? Today, learning AI, you go to Udemy or Coursera. ChatGPT is one of the most famous courses that is sold, right? Or you can always hire someone who can do that for you. But your beliefs and values are yours, which makes your identity. Who's helping you change that? That resistance comes from these three things mostly, right? And whether it is a small business, whether it's a medium-sized business, whether it's an enterprise is a very different thing. There are many individuals like us who influence that resistance. Uh, but that's where I feel that the root cause is somewhere.
Yes, indeed. So Abhijit has joined us. He's ready to ask you questions. Let me officially welcome Abhijit. He's
Yeah.
the CFO and the co-founder of Bloom, and he's with me today as my co-host, as my co-anchor. Over to you, Abhijit. Go ahead, and then I will probably join in a
Yeah.
little later.
So, Amay, you said about the environment makes a big factor in success. So, uh, was it maybe the fact that your environment was in IAS, the other, where you said that resulted a part in your success?
A bit of that, and also a bit of what I learned from my martial art
I'll tell you why, because I belong to the same school.
Lovely. See,
So that's why I said that environment propels you to success.
If the founders of IS were listening to us right now, we should go ahead and take uh, some incentives from them for promoting. IS is a place where you can be very easily successful because of the environment. I mean, I was very lucky to be in that school because now when I look back, we had 10 divisions
Yes.
with an average of 60 people in each division, which means 600 identities that you're dealing with and understanding every day because you meet them at school. And like that, you have like 10 grades, right? So, like, that's a 6,000 people school, which is massive. And then your environments change through those 24 hours. The morning environment is either you're going with them in a school bus during the day at the school. The environment is you're learning with them, co-learning with them. In the evening, you're walking back home with them. The environment is very different, and there are these different personalities, different identities that get presented to you day in day out, and you learn from them. I feel somewhere whatever I learned in the childhood, most of the things. I mean, neuroscience also says this that most of our beliefs or values, who we are, gets formed up by the age of 14, and till the age of 14, we are in the environment where it's schooling or our parents or our peer group who influences the way we are. So definitely, yes, my school played a big part. I had wonderful teachers at school, very value driven, very aligned, bringing the best out of us as students. So we were very lucky. That's not the thing, but I guess that's a part of
Sure,
their
sure.
thing.
Thanks. So, uh, your definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, right?
Worthwhile
And
goal, yeah.
and a worthwhile goal. So, how important is it to have a goal setting for
Okay,
success?
it's like this. It was like that example that I gave, that analogy, right? Um, I tell you that you have to go to CST from somewhere. So now you know there is a goal for you to go to CST, right? Let's now reverse the situation. Let's say I give you a car, fuel it up, bring it up to, let's say, Abhijit, take this car and drive, right? And I don't tell you where I want you to go, right? By the time the fuel is like वो आ जाए रिफ्यूलिंग वाला यार आ जाए तो you'll say, what have I got myself into? Where have I reached? I don't know where I was supposed to go, but yet I've utilized all the resources. I've utilized my energy. I've put in my concentration, my time, just driving this car, right? Now imagine if I tell you,
I,
you live in Kalina, I want you to go to CST, and I want you to use the Eastern Express freeway to get to CST. Then I've given you a defined goal, I've given you a defined path, and probably that journey is going to be a lot smoother, more predictable for you than me just telling you take this car and go wherever you want to.
so
That's why
I
the goal setting is important.
I agree. I'm asking you from the perspective of, at times success would also mean enjoying the journey. It's nowhere
Ah,
where you need. So maybe I still remember in our college or school, we used to go to Matharan and everybody used to get down at Neral. So we used to go down, get down a station before, a station after, two stations after, and just go across on the hills. We never knew where we will reach. But we walked for 2 hours, we reached somewhere. We didn't know where we were, but we were still happy. So again, and 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 maybe again happiness is, yes, we've reached somewhere, we felt very successful. So one is it necessary to have goals at all the time? So I'm speaking in that context. Yes, when you are in terms of an accomplishment and achievement, you have a compass, your journey, where you know where you are. As I always say, if you're going to Pune and at Kalyan you don't know where you are going, you go to Karzat, you'll reach Pune. But if you're going towards Kasara, you'll land up at Nasik instead of Pune. So
that's it.
you'll land up somewhere else. So yes, but if you don't want to reach Pune, you just want to travel, fine. Whether you reach Nasik
Yeah.
or Pune, you're happy. That's your some destination reach. So in I'm getting it from a different spiritual context. At times is when people come to you. So Deepak talked all about business people coming in with a set 5x achievement or maybe certain things. Whereas at a larger spiritual purpose of the why in life or the purpose. So what is a goal? Do you help people set goals? Or you are okay with whatever goals they have? Maybe they may not be aligned with your values, you would still try to change them, or you will give them a perspective.
So I guess as human beings, Abhijit, and I think you've touched the right aspect, spirituality. What is spirituality? A lot of people think I meditate every day, I do this, I live a very compassionate life, I live a very mindful life. All those are the elements of that spirituality. But what really spirituality, I believe, is my relationship with myself and whether deep down the alignment with my values, am I living that and being happy about it or not by living them day in, day out? Right? That's somewhere I define spirituality like that. It's true that a lot of people don't have any anchoring towards this realization of self. And as a coach, because I work personally a lot on myself and I'm a very spiritual person, I have a spiritual guru. I do help people understand this aspect of their life as well. Business cannot be your life. This body is going to get tired at some point in time, right? At 60, 65, 70, sometime you want to say, boss, bahut ho gaya, thak gaya. Does that mean that your life ends there? But then what else can you do for the betterment of yourself, people around you? A lot of people don't think about it, and those goals are important as well. Now, those could be goals in your relationships, could be goals for your personal health, or goals for how you develop yourself, get more aligned to things you want to achieve in life. Those could be spiritual goals. So I think that spiritual self and having goals for your spiritual self is very important, and that should come out in every goal setting. There are times where clients are not wanting to do that, which is okay. It's their choice, their freedom to choose not to do it. I let them do that, because at the end of the day, freedom is a value that I appreciate a lot in my life, so I should appreciate that in their life. But I found clients after the first or second conversation telling me, बॉस ये ना बिजनेस तो सब ठीक है, खुद के लिए भी कुछ करना है, खुद के लिए क्या गोल्स करो, what should I do? I said, yeah, find out what's relevant to you, what's important for you, what values do you align with, and then align your behavior to those values. Those become your spiritual goals. Somebody may come and tell me that, you know, being minimalistic in living is my goal 10 years down the line. I said, fine. What are your behaviors towards it? अगर आप minimalism में जा रहे हो, तो you cannot say that $1 billion enterprise that I want to build, the money that is going to come out of that, I'm going to invest in buying 10 Rolls Royce or a yacht or something like that. That doesn't align with your minimalism goal. The minimalism goal could be, then to have that true behavior displayed, you should be doing, you should be living a frugal life somewhere, right? तो ये conflict और contradiction काफी हो जाता है लोगों का.
So I agree. So when you're saying somebody is living a minimalist life, or somebody is living a life where he's meeting his necessities and his wants, and he's rich because his necessities and wants are met, or somebody who's always striving to have even luxuries, and maybe he's setting new goals. So maybe there is something called ambition, there is something called greed. At the same time, there is something called satisfaction, something contentment. So how do you actually align this? Because I may feel I'm successful, somebody else may feel, no, you could have done much better. Or maybe internally I feel I have not achieved my truest potential. So how does one align that and know it? So and how do you guide people to finding the right balance? Because if all of them were living a frugal life, then maybe entrepreneurship or the world would never have developed or grown.
Correct. So it is important to understand what is more important for you at that point in time. अभी आपको क्या चाहिए? Is this your, going back to what Abraham Maslow has always said in this uh, hierarchy pyramid? What do you want? Do you want more certainty, security, growth, love, connection, or self-actualization? If this is what you want, are you doing to get there? Right? So somebody who's more certain as a business owner, who's got that money rolling coming in week after week, does not have to worry about those 13 weeks of cash flows. His need may not really be that certainty, and hence his actions and goals that he's going to put in, or rather goals that he's going to put in, are for the next need that he needs to, fulfill for himself. And that need could be, I want more significance in the community that I live. Okay. What are you going to do that? Is it, you need more awards? Do you need more recognition? Do you want to create a community of yourself which is aligned to your values? What is it? And as a coach, I think this is a very important role that all coaches play, is help people understand what their needs at that point in time are. Right? If your need is of significance, and if you just focus on their business growth, 5x करेंगे, 10x करेंगे, even after achieving that 10x, they're not going to be happy and fulfilled about what they have achieved in terms of success. That exactly wasn't their need. Their need was significance. Their need was to go and stand in front of maybe the Prime Minister of India and accept an award for being one of the best, industries in their field, or become a very famous uh, industrialist in their community. Whatever it was. अगर आपने वो डिफाइन ही नहीं किया है, अगर आपने पूछा ही नहीं है, और not gone to that level in those conversations, if you're not sat down and had those conversations, then those needs are not going to come out, and hence whatever you plan as a, even if it is achieved, people are not going to feel successful about it.
So as a mathematician, do you have a formula for success which we can quantify something as an E is equal to MC square? So you said something about I noted down your idea is you have an identity of your own. Once you have your identity, then you decide what you do with having known your identity, where you want to go. Once you decide where you want to go, you empower yourself with all the skills needed to reach where you want. And then having empowered, act decisively to reach that place. So one is an idea. Is there a formula where you can say I plus D, I plus 2D plus 3E plus 4E is equal to success or something like that?
So yeah,
Where maybe
like yeah,
mathematician or accountant can debit is equal to credit.
as people who love numbers and work with numbers, I am a mathematician by education, so I also looked for a formula. It's very simple, right? Everything today in the world is formula. So what is a formula, and is there a formula for success? Yes, there is a formula for success. And each one of us would have our own formulas for success. But broadly, what I have put it down to is that if you know what you want to have in your life at all levels, and when I say at all levels, it could be all aspects of your life, in your education, in your finances, in your relationships, on your health, in your dealings with yourself, being more mindful, and all those things. So those are your haves. Now you know what you got to do to get there, right? But the problem is you're not able to do that because you're not building that identity for yourself, which is the beingness, right? So we are not all human doings or human havings. We are all human beings, right? And that beingness is what drives us towards our success. So have some dreams, put some goals, keep learning, put a plan to achieve those what based on what you've learned. But more importantly, if you take actions, and actions come only when you associate yourself from your identity perspective to get those things for yourself. That's when true success happens. So simple formula is be into do equal to have. Be the
B,
person into do equal equal to have. Yeah, equal to have. Be the person, do the things as that person, have the things you have always wanted. So now, as a mathematician, I've given you that formula, but
B
it's
into do is equal to have. It's awesome. Simple. Yeah. So when you said this, I'm reminded of Harish Mehta, who's here. So he has that quote: "If you know what you want, I believe you are aware of this quote, right?" And
yes,
I
absolutely.
just pick it up. So if you know what you want, then you know what you want really well. Then it is going to happen. Some call it a miracle. I call it the new normal. I think me and Saurabh also was there. We goof up this, and I think Harish ji can only say this. So again, all frankly, none of us, if I were expect, may not have achieved my true potential. So does that make me less successful?
Sorry, Abhijit, I lost you for a few seconds. I didn't fully get your question.
So, so, so all of us, a lot of skill sets, talents, abundance within us, but all of us, if you really introspect, have not achieved our true potential. So does that make us less successful in terms of our peak potential, what we could have achieved?
Um, there is this school of thought which always says, and this is our environment of people that we are living with, okay, you can achieve more. Your true potential is in doing XYZ things. Your true calling should be doing, ABC things. It is about how much importance you give to that aspect, right? So for me, the quality of my life is decided best by me. And if I want to enhance the quality of my life, I will look at a teacher or as a mentor or a coach who I trust has that knowledge to achieve what I want, right? Because with that knowledge, with that education, I get insights and then I'm able to ask myself better questions about things that I'm not doing right or not or doing right. And when those questions are asked, I get better responses to act upon, and those actions that I take yield the result that I want, right? So if somebody comes and tells me that you have not achieved your potential, my first question to that is compared to what? Compared to whom, right? How much does someone know about me and my why of why I'm doing certain things? And what is it that I'm trying to build for myself and on people around me that 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 judgment, to say the least, has been made. I'm very straightforward about that because because it's like this. We all say that energy is everywhere, energy is endless, and it has you can tap into the energy and get things done for yourself. But currently, the energy that I'm putting on something, I don't want that momentum to be broken because I've not achieved the result that I want by putting in that energy. So somebody coming and telling me you've not achieved your true potential, but right now, what I want out of the energy that I'm putting in, the true potential that I want to achieve out of it, could be X. Your vision about me with my true potential could be X plus X raised to 100. But right now, I don't have that energy. So I allow myself to decide. So if I have not achieved something, I may be not successful from someone else's perspective, but then I could be successful from my own perspective, from my where I am sitting and how I view my life and how I am doing things and what results I am getting. So it's very important for us to be very mindful, uh, present in that moment to say, "ठीक है यार, everyone will have an opinion, but I will actually go ahead and only measure myself against what goals I have set that I wanted to achieve. And once I'm there and I know that I have achieved it, I want to now reset my goal and go up if that's the area that I want to enhance in my life, or something else, or something else. Uh, th- I don't think there is anything like you
Sure,
not
sure.
achieved your true potential. ऐसा नहीं होता.
Point. Thanks. Great answer. I think it's all about your energy. I think energy is where your focus is energy is focus. Thanks. Deepak, over to you.
Yeah. So, I'm sure you've had quite a few successes in your coaching journey. Has there come a time where, you tried working with a client and they also tried working with you, but somehow it didn't work? There was no success, the goals weren't met, and then you probably told the client, you know, I probably cannot help you. You may need another business coach, or the business you are in has no future. Has that ever happened with you?
I mean, thankfully, I've not had a situation yet where I have come across a prospect to become a client where business that you are in does not have a future. That's not happened. But I have had quite a few experiences with people. Um, you cannot get the result for everyone. When they start with a energy, they start with an intent. But at times, as human beings, we tend to start getting distracted because the again it boils down to that identity, right? The identity that started that journey of coaching has changed because something in the environment has changed. I'll give a great example. It's a very personal example of mine. um about a year ago, I had a massive health scare, right? And at that point, I was on a spree to signing up clients who I knew I would love working with, and I knew I could deliver a great results for. And I was that coach. I know that I am that coach who will get them that result. But with the health scare coming in, my identity changed. Now I became more inward. I needed to focus on my own health, right? Which means the identity of me wanting to be more secured about self took more prominence and more relevance in the day-to-day things that I was doing. And what was the result? I could not get the result for my client because I was not being the coach. And then 2 months down the line, I called them up and I said, look, guys, I know you are not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying this because I am in a very different mindset myself right now. So it's best to, shake hands, say goodbye, and be grateful for each other's company for over the last 2 months, 3 months. I remember dropping a client who's been with me for about 2 years at that point in time. 2 years. Because I needed to do something different. My identity was shifting. It happens all the time. It's what's in your environment that drives you to do or not do certain things. The sooner the coach realizes that, and the sooner the coach addresses that with the client, the better the result is going to be, right?
Yeah.
Or eventually you'll get the result. But if you don't realize that, if you don't ask and have those conversations, and it's like this, Deepak. If I tell you, let's sit down, let you and I talk and see what is driving this result and
Hmm.
what's happening around you in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can would you like to do that? Why not?
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of us coaches at times take things for so granted. अरे
Yeah.
momentum में है ना करते ही रहेगा.
Yes. Yes.
If I walk into a coaching session, but the poor guy has not slept the previous night because his little daughter has been unwell, has
Yeah.
been having high temperature, do you think he's going to have that wonderful, wonderful coaching experience with me? No.
Yes.
We are human beings, right?
Yeah.
That's why that humanness, human side of us should come out in each of those coaching. So, who are you today that you have
Yes.
brought to this coaching conversation? Are you the father?
Yes.
Are you the son? Are you the mother? Are you the business owner?
Yeah.
I give myself and my clients to open up for the first 1 minute, and the way we do it is what I feel like expressing right now is I'm Ameya, the coach, who's here. Looking forward to having a great coaching conversation with you. And I want to help you achieve these things in this conversation. Now tell me what do you feel like expressing about yourself today?
Yeah.
That just opens up people to the feeling
Yes.
and expressing themselves.
Yeah. Wonderful. At this point, before we officially close, we are very, very close to the close. I would like to open up the audience for if anybody listening in wants to share something, wants to ask something to Ameya, or just even a random observation. You can unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, there is another question of mine to Ameya before we will officially close. Go ahead, please. Anyone interested in asking a question? Okay. So by the time the audience decides what they want to ask and what they want to say, my question to you is as a coach, how do you keep yourself updated with the current trends in coaching, in technology? How do you update yourself?
So I'm grateful that I'm part of the action coach coaching community. Also being a member of a very professional networking forum, I get a lot of information, insights, talking to people. I love conversing with people. I say that's one of my best strengths. It also brings on my downfall because I can keep talking to people, not knowing where to stop. But
Yeah.
these conversations always give you insights about the changing needs of people. And then when you ask the
Yes.
question why these needs are changing, you get to understand what's happening around you.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll give you a very simple example. At home, I have an 11-year-old son. His choices in life have moved from dinosaurs to, plants to animals to ant farming to Harry Potter. But but why has that changed? Because there's something else that he's wanting to acquire, right? At
Yes.
any given point in time.
Yeah.
If I'm paying attention to that and I know what is it that's wanted, I know that
Yes.
I'll keep myself active to make sure that the choices he has in his life are provided for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what that typically means to me is that I have to go and learn something
Yes.
and then start practicing and
Yeah.
then start seeing the results out of that practice. And then again,
Yes.
do I need to learn more or do I
Yeah.
need to unlearn something? As simple as that. I mean, my 11-year-old teaches me more than I learn from anyone else, man.
Yes,
Trust me.
indeed, indeed. Yeah, yeah. Since you are one who was actually working in the corporate and you decided to leave and follow your passion for coaching, what would your advice be to somebody who's actually thinking about what you did a few years ago? I want to leave my job. I want to become a coach. What would your advice be to them?
For me, it was very simple. I wanted to follow my passion, and I felt that now, if not now, then when?
Yeah.
And that was that, as people say, the strong calling and everything. I had been practicing some meditations to get more clarity for myself. Couple of years before that,
Yeah.
which eventually led me to get to this, that abhi nahi to kabhi nahi,
Hmm.
right? And I took a complete leap of faith. And I'm not shying in admitting that I'm not a good business owner.
Yeah.
As a coaching business owner, I'm not a good business owner. I'm learning this myself
Yeah.
as I go. And you know who's the best person who's helping me? It's my clients,
Yeah.
because they and I are walking on that we are having a similar journey. So coaching is not a one-way street; it's a two-way street. If you
But
choose to learn as well,
yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Not just look yourself as a coach. If you choose to learn
Yes.
yourself,
Yeah.
you will learn and be able to implement that.
Yeah.
Just follow your passion, get to the
Yes.
be decisive. More
Yeah.
importantly, be decisive. Don't be
Yes.
half-hearted into it.
Yeah.
It's not that every day I wake up, I'm running an ad campaign and I'm getting like 100 leads, out of which 20 leads are getting converted. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Trust me. उतना time भी नहीं होएगा किसी के पास, right?
Yeah.
Depending on where you see your practice going, or what you see
Yes.
being done. But
Yeah.
stay put in that, because this is a decision you have taken for yourself. Whether it's a coach or a yoga teacher, or
Yeah.
wanting to build the next big 3D printing business, whatever it is, you know, just decide and stay put in it. It's easy for people to fold up because they don't see the results immediately. Trust me, result success doesn't happen overnight. If it happens overnight, you'll not be able to enjoy it, be able to, sustain it as well. Because what you get with great difficulty is what you love to sustain,
Yeah.
and you'll put more energy in sustaining it, and that will give you the next level of success and next level of result, right?
Wonderful. I think the clear takeaway from that last answer was abhi nahi to kabhi nahi.
कभी नहीं तो कभी
If you are thinking of moving in, taking the leap, abhi nahi to kabhi nahi. If you
नहीं
are
तो
thinking of getting a coach for your business, abhi nahi to
कभी
kabhi
नहीं तो कभी नहीं.
nahi. Wonderful. This has been a great 1 hour conversation we've had with you. Myself and Abhijit have really enjoyed hosting you, learning from your experiences as to what is happening in the business space, as to how a business coach can work with small businesses, medium enterprises, helping them grow their business, their revenue, their profits, and finally reach a place where you can say, I'm successful, I'm happy, I have the freedom to do what I want to, what I please. That is the pinnacle of success. That is where most of us are trying to be. Most of us are on that journey. Some of us may have, almost touched that goal or have reached there. It's our duty to help others get there. Wonderful. Thank you everybody for joining
Thanks,
in on
Deepak.
this
I
Sunday
also,
afternoon.
sorry, I just want to take 30 seconds to express my
Please,
gratitude to the
please,
room.
please.
I have known you guys this platform for ages, right? But I feel so happy, privileged to be here having this conversation with you, Deepak, and with Abhijit. And thank you, Payal. I know she's not on the call today, but thank you, Payal, for reaching out. Thank you so much, guys. Lovely, lovely, lovely way to start your Sunday. I only started only a
Wonderful.
couple of hours ago.
Thank you. Thank you. See
Thank
you
you.
everybody next Sunday. Till then, God bless us all,
God
and
bless.
we will be
Thank you.
online again next Sunday afternoon, 12:30 with another guest. Do join in. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.